Would you come sit right here for me? Tell me everything you heard from his room.
This is Zanaya. 1 week ago, this young hero witnessed the murder of her mother, Brittany Cosby, and Brittany's lover, Crystal. And in seconds from now, she will expose exactly who has done this to them.
I forgot the boy name. He's in his room with the same bag.
Did somebody tell you that, or did you see that?
I see that.
Because the one behind this double homicide is Brittany's own father, James Cosby. And over the course of this investigation, he will realize that his murder plot has come crumbling down because of one 5-year-old girl.
What in the hell made you so mad to do this to your own flesh and blood?
Good God, grow some balls, man. You're a pathetic, pathetic person to sit here and think that we're all this stupid. Act like you're this Christian, you're the biggest hypocrite I've ever seen in my life.
It was the morning of March 7, 2014, when a delivery driver was traveling along State Highway 87 on the Bolivar Peninsula in Texas. As he pulled into a convenience store, something caught his attention near the roadside. Something that almost looked like deceased human remains. As more people gathered around the scene, it didn't take long before 911 calls started pouring in.
Okay, and how do you know that they're deceased?
I went and looked at them. I had my Bud Light man Budweiser man was here to drop off an order.
Uh-huh.
And he walked to the dumpster to go dispose of some trash, because it's in the back of my building.
Where do you want to go?
And he came in and told me to call 911, but he said if you want to make sure they're not mannequins.
Emergency responders arrived to find 2 women lying motionless. One of them appeared to have a single gunshot wound, while the other had multiple injuries. As investigators process the scene, they discover neither woman has any identification on them. Their wallets are gone, and there is no way to know who they are or where they came from. It almost looks like someone wanted them to remain anonymous for as long as possible. Even so, whoever tried to do so was sloppy with it, making several mistakes. Because while investigators are searching the area, they recover a broken section of a decorative window shutter with a bloody thumbprint on it. It isn't clear whose blood it is just yet, but if it belongs to one of the victims, it might be helpful later in the investigation. With no way of knowing who the victims are, investigators begin speaking with anyone who might have seen them before they were dumped there. One witness remembers seeing the 2 women riding in the back seat of a silver Kia Sorento, with a man behind the wheel. Based on that description, officers work with a sketch artist to create a composite of the driver. Meanwhile, using surveillance footage and temporary registration records attached to the vehicle, they identify the SUV's owner and the first victim. It's 24-year-old Brittany Cosby. The second victim is identified as Brittany's girlfriend, 24-year-old Crystal Jackson. Both of them, along with Crystal's daughter, had been living inside a house along with Brittany's father and her grandmother. Naturally, detectives head to their residence in Houston, hoping they might find some answers. But the only person they find inside the house is Brittany's grandmother, 90-year-old Annie Lee Cosby. Annie spends most of her time at home, so if anything unusual happened inside the house before Brittany and Crystal disappeared, there's a good chance she would have noticed. So officers sit down to have a chat with her.
Do you remember where, I think I asked you earlier where Brittany, what kind of work she did, or you mentioned that you thought they were going to work?
The man's number is some kind of restaurant or something like that. Let me see. I thought I had his number. Because the lady, the little girl's mother, she called him while she was here. Called Brittany's job.
Mm-hmm.
And he told her, no, Brittany hadn't been to work. In fact, he talked to me. And he said she hadn't been there since...
okay. That's what, okay.
I'm trying to think. I thought she wrote it down in here.
We got the call this morning.
Got the call.
We got the call this morning about 7:30, 7:45, somewhere right around there. That's when they were found.
Did somebody call you all?
Yes, ma'am. And that's when we went over and we saw what that individual was telling us.
But you didn't see the car, did you?
No, we're trying to find video right now that might show somebody coming or going in that area. So my friend, he's at the ferry right now, at the ferry landing, trying to get all their video downloaded.
And I wonder if somebody took the car.
I don't know. 'Cause as of right now, we're not finding anything to match the description of her vehicle. But we would like to know, you'd be able to trace her steps from when she left here yesterday.
But they left yesterday morning.
Did they happen to say where they were going or tell anybody?
Huh?
Did they happen to say where they might have been going?
They were told, I know they're supposed to be going to work.
Going to work?
They're supposed to be going to work.
Did they both work together? Is that what it was?
No, they didn't work together, but I think they worked in the same neighborhood, same area.
Okay. Did you happen to know what phone company her cell phone might have been through, or?
No, that I don't know.
Okay.
I sure don't.
Yeah, we're trying to piece together what happened. If we can recount their steps, we might be able to find, who did this stuff.
But now somebody said, did you find the other girl?
Yeah, they were there together.
Both together and dead. Oh, I wonder what happened to the car.
So if we can trace their steps and when they left here and where they went from there, we might be able to find out what happened.
Because they left here, when they left here, they said to me they was going to work, but
Yeah.
they didn't go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know they didn't go to work, so last night she didn't call, and I kept calling her number, and she would leave a message. But I never knew. And I said, where are they? Where are they?
Unfortunately, Annie isn't able to give the detectives much to work with. The only thing she can tell them is that Brittany and Crystal had left the house for work that day, but they never really made it there. So whatever happened to them, it happened sometime between them leaving the house and reaching their destination. Just then, the interview gets interrupted. Brittany's father, James Larry Cosby Jr., walks into the room, and he looks exactly like the man from the sketch. But before that, if you love watching killers like him get caught red-handed, subscribe. It's literally all we do here.
What's going on?
Are you the father? Brittany's daddy?
Yes. Yeah, I've kind of given him a little bit. Sit down, though. Please sit down.
You just have a seat.
Brittany's dead.
What happened?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Judging by his reaction, James is clearly shaken by the news, but the detectives have more important questions to ask. Why was James with the victims before they disappeared? More importantly, how did the three of them end up on the Bolivar Peninsula? As Brittany's father, James may be the only person who can answer those questions, so the detectives now shift their attention to him.
What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened?
That's what we need your help with.
That's what we need to help. We want to know. Right now, we want to find out who did this, okay? But we're going to need who was with them. Me and my grandmother seen her leave the other morning. We was in the kitchen.
Who's the girl with you?
That's her girlfriend. That's Crystal.
Is this Crystal? Real thin, but
That's her girlfriend.
okay. What kind of vehicle do they have?
I don't know.
Does,
I'm
do,
sorry.
They just got the infiltrate check.
okay, do either one of
And they
them?
went and bought a car.
I'm sorry, I have the wrong number.
Okay, you hadn't seen it yet,
Somebody
huh?
else. I'm sorry.
You haven't seen the car that they
Thank
bought?
you.
It's a, I don't know. It's
Does that car look familiar?
No.
Ever seen that car? That may not have anything to do
It's
with
like
it.
a station wagon.
it's like a station wagon. It's like a.
So we're going through video. Just
It's a Kia.
A Kia.
It's a Kia. It's a Kia SUV. So when they bought the car, they brought it in, and I went and looked at the tires and checked it out for it.
Do you remember that color on it?
Oh,
Thank you anyway, here.
silver gray,
You come to see me sometime.
silver or gray. One of them. It was nighttime when I came home from the waterfront.
I understand. Are they having any problems with anybody?
I don't know what it I don't know what it is. No way.
I mean, any bad breakup, relationship breaks up, anything like that you know that anybody that's mad at either one of them or jealous of either one of them?
I mean, I hear them bad. Look, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they have any enemy. You asked me if they have any enemies.
Basically, yeah.
No.
We noticed out here on the house that you're missing one of those decorative shutters.
Oh, that's been like that.
Up until this point, James comes across exactly how you'd expect a father in his position to act. He's emotional, cooperative, and appears genuinely devastated by the news. But his comment about the decorative window shutter immediately raises suspicion. How could James know which shutter they were talking about? And if it had always been broken, why was part of it found at the crime scene? For now, though, the detectives don't push him any further. If they want to understand what was going on in Brittany and Crystal's lives before they disappeared, they need to speak with someone who knew the couple just as well. So they bring Crystal's mother, Mary Jackson, to the Houston Police Department.
If you would, can you tell us the last time you spoke with Crystal?
On Wednesday night, whatever date that was. It was the night. Was it okay? Today is the night. Sunday night.
Yeah, today's Sunday. So it would have been this past Wednesday?
Just yes, this Wednesday just passed.
Okay.
Whichever date that is, could have been the 5th. Is it maybe the 5th?
Yes, that is about right.
And it was Wednesday night. She came to the house to pick up her daughter from work.
Okay.
And then that was the last time I talked to her.
What about what time was that when she?
Good. And it was dark. I remember it was dark.
Okay.
About between 5:36.
So basically, and you're saying she, we're talking about who we're talking about?
Okay, it was dark. Crystal, sorry.
Okay.
Crystal, she came in from work to pick up her baby. It was raining and cold.
Okay. And when she was there, did y'all have any conversation? Do you remember what y'all talked about?
She didn't say much. She just said, I'm going to go home and get some rest.
Okay. And where was home for her?
At Brittany Cosby's house.
Okay, so she was staying
house.
with Brittany Cosby?
Yes.
Okay, so how long has she been actually living with Brittany?
It's been off and on for some months.
Okay.
Yes.
So not quite a year yet, but...
No, nowhere near a year.
Several months?
Several months ago, she started going over there.
Okay, and prior to that, she was living with y'all there off of...
Yes,
Kennelsworth?
prior to that. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's not maybe a good 3 months, maybe. It's not that long ago, less than 3 months.
In the time, I guess, y'all been talking, we know they just got a car. What, did she tell you anything about getting this car, how they got it, what her plans were, anything like that?
She just told me that when they got the car, she always kept saying, my daughter Crystal was saying, we're gonna get a car. We're waiting on Brittany Cosby's uncle or someone was to help them get the car on the family side, the Cosby's family side. And she said they're gonna take them to the car. They'll go to the car dealer, whatever they can. But when I found out they got a car, it was on I think may have been March the 2nd.
Okay. We know Crystal has a child, correct? Who's the biological father of that child?
Reginald Jackson.
Before Crystal began dating Brittany, she had been married to a man named Reginald. The two also shared a 5-year-old daughter, Zania, who was living with Crystal at the Cosby residence. Naturally, the ex-husband catches the detective's attention. In cases like this, suspicion is cast over former partners for multiple reasons, as a lingering attachment, feelings of revenge or jealousy, and anything in between is all too often a motive for murder, which is why they can't afford to overlook Reginald. Was he still on good terms with Crystal, or had her new relationship with Brittany created tension between them? Looking for answers, they ask Mary to describe the relationship between Crystal and her ex-husband.
They didn't click, but did they fight? Did they have any problems?
Not at all. No, when he would come to the house and visit with his daughter,
Okay.
They was fine.
When's the last time he came over?
Several months ago, probably close to a year. It's been a while.
Okay, it's been about a year since he last visited.
It's been a while, yeah.
Okay, but there was never...
When I seen him, it never was a fuss.
Okay, what about when they split up? Was there any fighting, or was it just like, no, we don't want to be together anymore?
That's why it was.
Okay, so there's no hate or anything there?
No hate at all. When I would see them together, they was talking nicely to each other.
Okay. Do you know of anybody that was mad at Crystal or Brittany? Did she ever tell you about anybody, that she was afraid of anybody, that she was having problems with anybody, or that Brittany was having problems with anybody that you can think of looking back?
Thinking back, even in them 2 years.
Or even recently, yeah.
No, she was always telling me nice stuff with her and Brittany. Was, nice stuff.
Okay.
And sometimes she would ask me, you want to go to a movie together, all three of us, all four of us,
Okay.
her, Brittany, the baby, me. She wouldn't, and I would say, no, whatever, well, maybe we'll see.
Right.
Who got the money? If we got money, we go. But it was no trouble.
And outside of her and Brittany, anybody else she was worried about? Friends, any family, anybody that she was having problems
Crystal
with?
didn't mention it if she was having problems with anyone else trying to come between Brittany and her. No.
Well, even we can even put that out there. Just anybody in general that would have been mad at her or want to hurt her.
No, not that I know.
Okay. Anybody that you can think of just looking back, like, well, there's anybody you're suspicious of at all?
No.
Everything seemed pretty good.
No one came and I seen her fuss with anybody. No. No one came to the house, fuss with her.
Did they mention anything to you at all when you, not only Wednesday, but maybe a couple days prior to that, about any plans? Like, we plan on going here, we're going to go there, we're going to take a trip to here.
The only thing she just said is when they get their car, she can get back and forth to work better instead of riding the bus. But she didn't say, make no plans about going to Galveston or anything.
You didn't hear anything? We're going to Galveston,
No.
we're going to Houston, we're going to.
She didn't say that.
Well, with that in mind, did she have any friends in Galveston that you know of?
No. So it made me think. I hear people say there was the Mardi Gras going on and some other festival going on down there. I don't be knowing about Galveston.
Okay. But okay, with that in mind, Mary, did you hear them say anything about we're going to go to Galveston, we're going to go to anywhere down in that area?
No, they didn't say.
Not a word. Have you ever known them to go down in that area?
No.
So you wouldn't know of any reason why they would be down there? No friends, no.
That's why I didn't see any reason for them to go down there too. It's not like they.
Well, what I mean is they could be, somebody they know.
No, I don't think anyone down there other than they had the Mardi Gras festivals going on.
But do you know if they actually went to that Mardi Gras?
I didn't know. No, like I said, she was going home and lay down.
Okay. So you don't know if they went there or not?
No, she said go home and rest. Rest. I don't know, rest, maybe just kick her foot up on the couch or what, but lay down and rest.
Unfortunately, Mary can't explain why the two women traveled all the way from Houston to the Bolivar Peninsula. Nobody knows whether they went willingly or whether they were already dead when they were transported there. So far, detectives have absolutely no lead to work through. Although James's comments about the broken shutter didn't sit right with the detectives, it's not enough to prove he had anything to do with what happened. What they need now is something concrete, a witness, a piece of evidence, anything that can move the investigation forward. That's when a Frito-Lay delivery driver, Troy Fontenot, walks into the police station. Not long before the victims were discovered, Troy had a brief encounter with a man outside a convenience store. The man borrowed his phone, made a few calls, and asked for directions back to Houston. At the time, Troy thought nothing of it, but after seeing the composite sketch released by investigators, he immediately recognized the man he had helped. It was James Larry Cosby Jr.
And you basically told us you had interactions with a gentleman the other day up in High Island. Can you tell us again how that happened, how you got involved, that kind of stuff?
I currently deliver to High Island grocery or mart store, and it was my first stop that morning. And
is that going to be where it's like a little Exxon gas station area?
Yes, sir, it is.
It's the only little store in High Island, is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is. Okay. Yes, sir. And I pulled up and backed my truck up to the dumpster. And at the time, I got out of my truck to pull the order. And as I was pulling the order and bringing product in the store, a black male, I'd say probably 5'8" in height, weight's probably about 235, 240 in that range, approached me as I was going inside the store and asked me, could he use my phone to make a call, because he supposedly said that he had worked like a job court out in High Island, and that they wasn't treating him right, and he just he quit.
Okay.
He carried a green sea bag, and he followed me inside the store, and I got my phone out and put the code in and let him use the phone. He did not stay in the store to talk on the phone. He walked outside.
Okay.
He stayed on the phone probably about 3 or 4 minutes. I visually kept an eye on him, making sure, by him being a stranger, that he didn't take my phone. And I guess after the first call, he walked back in the store and said that he tried to make a second call, but once again, you have to put a code in my phone to make a call. And he asked to use it again. And I put the code in, and once again, he walked back out of the store. And probably about another 5 minutes, he walked back in, gave me the phone, and told me thank you. And at the time, he asked the clerk behind the counter that was it okay for him to stand out in front of the store on the side, that he had a ride coming to pick him up.
Okay.
At the time, he asked me several questions. He asked me how far was the interstate from where he was, and which direction was Houston. And I told him, I said, well, of course, if you go back this way, there's Crystal Beach, Bolivar area. And he told me he was familiar with that area. And I told him if he would approach towards Winnie and head I-10 West, that would go back to Houston.
Okay.
And that was pretty much it. And leading up into this interview, around 11:30 today, which is the 10th of March, I was delivering to Family Dollar in Crystal Beach, Texas. And my cell phone rang, and it was Fernando, the clerk at High Island. And he asked me if I remembered the black guy that walked in the store the morning, either the Thursday morning, it definitely wasn't Friday, that I remember the guy. And I asked him why. And he said, I seen a sketch, and I think that's the guy that did the murders. And from that point, once I hung up, I started thinking back of letting a stranger use my phone. And I contacted you guys because I didn't know what to actually do, but I actually thought, and once I seen the sketch, I positively know the sketch that I did see is the guy I let use my phone.
Well, let me ask you that, because we showed you a composite drawing. Do you recognize that?
I definitely recognize this picture. This is the picture, vaguely, of the guy that I let use my phone in the morning at High Island.
Okay, is that the sketch that I showed you earlier out there in front of Family Dollar and Winnie?
This is the sketch.
That writing on there?
The writing is mine, which has my name, Troy. Today's date, 3/10/14. And in my personal writing, this is the guy that used my cell phone.
Okay. How sure would you say?
I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
100% sure. I worked for the sheriff's department for 10 years. I do not forget a face.
Okay.
At all.
What was his demeanor? Was he low key? Don't disagree with me. Was he okay? Was he low key? Was he nervous? Was he anything else on him stand out to you?
He pretty much had a low key, but he really needed, the way he approached me is like he really needed a phone. And after I let him use my phone, I asked Fernando, normally when you need a call like that, I figure he would have went to the store and asked to use the phone.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But he didn't.
Exactly.
He wanted my cell phone.
Okay. And I know when we were talking out there, you said you remember he was wearing jeans.
Yes, sir.
And just picking your brain again to see if anything else came back. Do you remember anything more about his shirt?
His shirt that I can remember vaguely was blue and like a polo type shirt. And one thing that I am absolutely 100%, he had a green sea bag. And the reason I'm saying that, because when I was leaving the store, I mentioned to him, I said, that's a pretty big bag for you to be carrying.
Yeah.
And I told him I was in the military before, and, that's a big bag.
Yes, which a lot of military personnel carry sea bags.
Correct.
Troy's statement is exactly the break the detectives have been waiting for. For the first time, they can place James as the prime suspect. Now all they need is enough evidence to prove he was responsible. So they begin retracing every step he took after leaving Houston. Surveillance cameras from several locations capture James driving Brittany's Kia while it still has its temporary license plates. But at some point during his journey, James had even removed those plates. To the detectives, that could only mean one thing. James deliberately removed them to make the SUV harder to trace once it was abandoned. With every piece of evidence, it's becoming clear that this didn't happen in the heat of the moment. James was thinking several steps ahead when he decided to kill the victims. At the same time, detectives keep digging into his life, hoping someone close to him might explain why all of this happened. That's when they sit down with one of Brittany's uncles, Bellinger Earl Cavett. Bellinger, who knows James by his middle name Larry, had spoken to him not long before the murders. And looking back now, there are a few things about that conversation that he feels like sharing with detectives.
When was the last time you were at that house? Do you remember?
Like I told you earlier, I may have been there that Wednesday before, because I found their bodies that Friday. Maybe I was over there, but I'm not really for sure. Maybe I know I didn't go over there and chill, but maybe I passed through that because I looked through my cell phone and because I really didn't know where I was at the particular time. But then when I looked at my cell phone, I saw that the text for me and my girlfriend was texting back and forth where I had to go pay my insurance for my car.
Mm-hmm.
And so that Wednesday, I dropped off at work and I came back maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock, came back to this side of town. From Houston. And went and picked her up from work. She got up at 4:30, picked her up from work, and maybe we went and got something to eat or something and went to the house.
Okay.
And I say I may have, and I may have not been. Maybe I passed through or something and seen him or something, but I really can't say. I know I'm definitely sure I talked to him. Like I said, y'all saying it happened Thursday, but I'm really leaning more towards Wednesday. I don't know what time Wednesday or whatever. One reason I'm saying that because a guy that I talked to, one of his friends, he said, nah, because you remember you told me that, because he asked about Larry. I didn't know him and Larry knew each other. We went over there one day and he was like, man, I know Larry. Me and Larry used to play ball together. So he said, yeah, you remember you told me that he said his daughter was missing or he ain't heard from her. And I was like, yeah, but I know, it's kind of got my days mixed up because I know Friday for sure, I went to the dump.
Mm-hmm.
When me and my girlfriend went and got a mattress. That was that Friday. Later on that Friday is when I found out, that they already found their bodies. We pulled up.
Who's we?
Me and Scotty. Okay. I dropped my girlfriend off at my mom's house, which is like maybe 3-4 minutes away from where Larry and them live.
Right.
And I pulled up, and that's when he was standing out there in the driveway. And he was looking crazy. And I'm like, man, tell him to get in. And then he finally got in. He said, man, they found Brittany. And I said, well, that's good. He said, I said, what you mean? I'm thinking she was high, drunk or something and went to jail because he was telling me he thinks she's in jail. And actually, I was supposed to get on the computer and look her up and see if she was in jail. And it just slipped my mind to not even do it. And so when he said that, I was like, he said, man, they found her bodies. And I was like, what? And immediately, me and Scott was just like, man, you bull, man, that's some hard shit to be hearing. And like, I never known her to be involved in nothing to where, that could possibly happen. And he said, man, they supposed to be going to Galveston, man, and they found them, this and that or whatever. So I'm like, man, I went home and I told my mom, and I think I called my girl and I told her. I went home to my mom's house and told her, and she started calling everybody.
Okay, this friend that you talked about that knew Larry played ball with, do you remember his name?
Yeah, his name is Anthony. And that was, like I said, I never knew they even knew each other, But they come to find out when I went over there with him, he was.
And how old do you think Anthony is?
He should be around that. If they play ball together, he probably around his age. To be honest, him and Larry were supposed to trade guns. That's how they end up, finding each other or whatever. They supposed to switch guns, or he's like, man, I want to switch my gun out, whatever, such. And they supposed to trade guns. So I think 9mm and Larry had the .357 and they supposed to trade. But this is like weeks ago. Like this wasn't like recently. This was, before all this took place, And he said, yeah, and he told me, say, man, I'm so glad I didn't trade that gun with that. I was like, why? He said, cause he had probably done that shit by then. I said, nah, this was before. I knew for a fact that it was before, this took place. He's like, man, yeah. I said, nah, it was before that. I said, I know for a fact it was, He's like, man, I'm glad I didn't. I said, well, it was before, He's like, cause I don't even know shit with nobody on it or nothing like that. I said, nah, it was before, what I'm saying? I'm almost, sure that it was before, but that's basically it.
Apparently, before Brittany and Crystal were killed, James had been planning to trade his handgun with one of his friends, Anthony Lockett. Nobody can say for certain why James wanted another gun. Maybe it had nothing to do with the murders. But if the trade had gone through, investigators would have been tracking a completely different firearm. Whether that was James's intention or not, it's another detail that leaves the detectives wondering just how much of this had been planned in advance. Had he been plotting these murders for some time? Or is it all just a bad coincidence? Either way, James had made the detectives' jobs much more difficult at nearly every turn, and before they take the investigation any further, they need to understand exactly who they're dealing with. That's when they get to know about Courtney Michelle Heron, a friend of James and his coworker. Soon, Courtney would let the detectives know just how twisted James can be.
Right there by the fire station and the supermarket, there's a bus stop on the left. If I'm coming like this, it's the left-hand side.
Okay.
I walked and I sat at the bus stop. A tall man just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "What's your name?" I looked at him, I said, "What's your name? Why are you questioning about me? What's my name?"
Mm-hmm. What time of year was this? Do you remember?
This was last year.
Do you remember late end of the year?
March 13th, 2013.
Okay.
Okay. The man said, "What is your name?" I said, "Why are you questioning about my name? What is your name?" He said, "My name is James Barry Cosby."
Okay.
They call me 6'5" or Kareem, which is Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "You're Muslim?" He said, "Yes." He started speaking all kind of Muslim languages. I don't know how to speak a Muslim language.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my religion. I'm a Jehovah's Witness. That's what I grew up with.
According to Courtney, James was a Muslim and held deeply negative views towards homosexuality. That immediately gives the detectives something they hadn't had before, a possible motive. Could James have targeted Brittany and Crystal because he couldn't accept their relationship?
I said, "What we gonna do over here?" And he said, "I gotta pick something up out of this room." I said, "What you gotta pick up?" And Brittany said, "Yeah, Daddy, what you gotta pick up? What you got going on?" He said, "No, I gotta pick up something." And basically our whole attention was coming over there to go pick up some beer. Well, I'm fine. He already had stashed in the den.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his little hiding space. Well, come find out, he had a black suitcase. It's black and it's got I think some digits or something. Got to have a code to do.
Briefcase?
Briefcase, yeah. He opened it up. There's a bunch of paperwork in it. There was also a pistol in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was black with a brown handle.
Okay.
And he tucked it inside of his pants pocket. The outside of the jean right here.
Mm-hmm.
He tucked it in there. I said, 6'5", what are you doing with the pistol? I really don't ride around in no car with no pistols. I don't like guns at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrified of them. The fact that you just picked me up off the corner at a bus stop and I just came from a vacant house and was at gunpoint. So how would you think that would make me feel?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you'd be a little bit scared.
I would be scared, what are you fixing to do with this gun? And people think, "Parent, no, it's not that, it's my safety."
Right.
He said, "You want me to leave it here?" I said, "Hell yeah, I want you to leave that here. Why would you need to bring that with you to the car wash? There's no drama that goes on at the car wash.
Mm-hmm.
No drama whatsoever. People come in with their cars. We're supposed to wash their cars, and that's it. Business.
Mm-hmm.
No drama. So why would you bring drama to something you're doing? Bad business don't mix with, you know what I'm saying?"
Right.
He says, "All right, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to leave the gun here." I said, yeah, that's what you need to do. Make sure there's security on it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "First of all, why you even got a gun in the house? Do you have a license for this gun?" He said, "No." I said, "Where'd you get it from?" He said, "I got it from my partner." I said, "Who your partner?" He said, "Don't worry about it. It's none of your business." He never told me where he ever got it from.
Okay.
Basically, I felt used.
Mm-hmm. He played me the whole time. First of all, you lied to me about your background history. Come to find out, I think it's somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
I don't know too much about it, but I know that he did something to some girl in her 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's true or false.
Well, the reason he was in prison was because he failed to register.
Because he refused to sign it?
Well, he failed to register. He's supposed to register when he moves, and he didn't do that. And since he was on parole, he went back.
Back. And how long did he do it?
I don't know for sure. I have to go back and look at my records in there. But I got people trying to pull up to find exactly when he was released. Because we confirmed at some point he was back in jail and got released October 23rd of 2013.
He was what?
He was back in jail or prison or something, and he was released October 23rd of 2013. And then he was out from then, you know, and then after that is when he killed Brittany the following March. That's why when you said he was out in March, I'm trying to sit here and trying to figure out.
I might have had my days mixed up because he always switched his attitude and mood swings and everything up.
From what Courtney has told the detectives, it's becoming increasingly obvious that James crying and mourning his daughter's death during the earlier interview may have been nothing more than a sham. James wasn't just an ex-convict. He was also a registered offender with a history of violence against women. And if he can commit a hate crime against his own daughter, then detectives have to wonder, how far would he go to protect himself? Just as they're contemplating their next move, they uncover something nobody had considered before. Up until now, detectives believed that only Annie and James had been inside the house when Brittany and Crystal were murdered. But that wasn't true. There was someone else there, someone who had witnessed everything with her own eyes. Crystal's 5-year-old daughter, Zanaya. Realizing she may be the only eyewitness to what happened inside the house, detectives waste no time and bring her to the police station for an interview.
Tell me everything that happened from that morning to the time you went to sleep.
The morning when I was getting ready for school at nighttime, my mama was in the car, me and her, and my mama said, "Stay in the car," and I stayed in the car. So I was taking my mom's on off, so I went in there to find out, but nobody was in there.
Tell me where you saw.
There was a ladder in his room. It is assigned to my mother and his daughter.
Okay, tell me where the ladder was in his room.
On his bed.
You saw it on his bed? Tell me everything you heard from his room. You heard it. Tell me how you know it was.
Because he just, in his room, he just said, "Bam!" He took them to outside.
Okay, did somebody tell you that or did you see that?
Zanaya, as accurately and bravely as she can, explains everything she had seen at the crime scene. And at this point, the detectives have heard enough. They immediately obtain a search warrant for the Cosby residence, and everything Zanaya told them turned out to be true. There are bloodstains on the floor, blood on the Muslim prayer mats, and if that wasn't enough, the broken window shutter inside the house is a perfect match for the piece investigators recovered beside the victims' bodies. On March 12th, they track James down at a candlelight vigil held for Brittany and Crystal and bring him in for questioning. This time, they're not relying on suspicions or witness statements alone. The testimony of a brave girl who witnessed everything inside that house. Zanaya blows the case wide open, and James isn't getting away this time.
So you're not denying that blood's in that room? You're not denying that that's not your dead daughter right there? You're not denying that you weren't at the house? And you're not denying that Granny was there? So the fact is that those two things happened there, and the only two people there is you and Granny, and you're adamant that Granny didn't kill her, so that leaves but one person responsible for the death of your daughter, and that's you. That's a real simple formula. There's no any way around that, and that is 100% based on what you're telling us. You're telling us that information, that you are the only two people there. If you take Granny out of the mix, then that leaves only one person responsible for Brittany's death. Only one person on this whole entire earth, and that's you. Unless there was somebody else there you're not telling us about. And you're saying there was not. So that goes back to one person in that house responsible for her death last Thursday, and that is you. Nobody else. Nobody else can be responsible for this. Nobody else can be responsible for this except you. Based on your statement the only question is, why? Why did you do this? It's not a matter of if you did this. It's not a matter of where you did this. It's not a matter of how you did this. It's a matter of why did you do this? And that is going to be the ever question that this little girl and your granny and everybody else in your family is going to want to know till hell freezes over. Of why, oh Lord, did this happen? Please give these people some closure. It is human nature to want to know why. Until you know that answer, you suffer every day with the agony of the unknown. And no one has control over that right now except you. And you're going to make all these people's life more miserable than it already is, and it's already going to be, for no acceptable reason. There is no reason, and there is no reasonable reason why you can't tell us why this happened.
James, you killed your daughter. You put your skull in and you killed your daughter. Look at it. This is your daughter. Look at it. You did this. You did it. You killed your daughter. You killed your own flesh and blood. And then you've got the gall to sit here and make us want to believe that you don't know what happened. That some fairy tale must have taken place.
Those are your words.
That's yours, buddy. You tell us you're there. We can prove she was killed right there last Thursday evening. Yes. I didn't ask yes or no.
We're telling you.
I'm telling you. She was killed there last Thursday evening. And Granny didn't do it. But yet you want us to believe that you don't know a damn thing about it. So that must leave the fairy tale answered. Whatever that fairy tale is, that magical little tale is, maybe a leprechaun went in there and done it. What in the hell made you so mad to do this to your own flesh and blood? Good God, grow some balls, man.
I think you're pathetic. You're a pathetic, pathetic person to sit here and think that we're all this stupid and put this shit on everybody else. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're making everybody else suffer because of this bullshit. And that is so pathetic. It's bad enough you killed her, and then you're going to make everybody else be miserable over it? More than they have to be already? That's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Getting a confession out of James proves to be just as difficult as gathering evidence against him. Despite the detectives repeatedly calling him out for being an absolutely pathetic father, James remains unfazed. By now, it's obvious this interview isn't ending with a confession, but they're not willing to give up just yet.
James, what happened?
Can't tell you what happened.
Why can't you tell me? Why is it so hard? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of something, or you tell me? You're afraid of something. What is it? What are you afraid of? We all have fears. Trust me. But you got to have some faith in mankind that you do the right thing and explain and take that load off people, that somebody's going to find in their heart to still forgive you and care about you. You know that.
I have no faith in mankind, man. I have faith in the Creator, that's it.
Well, then you need to worry about him taking care of you, forgiving you. For Granny's mankind, you don't think she's not capable of forgiving you?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. You gotta give her a reason. You're not doing that. You're not doing it. What are you afraid of, John? What are you afraid of? You afraid of something, or you tell us?
The only thing I'm afraid of is the Creator.
Okay. Then don't you think the Creator would like for you to give these people peace of mind? Don't you think He would like for you to do that? Don't you think He would like for you to do that? I believe in the Creator. I church all my life. I went to religious school from first grade through high school. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm with you on all that. But I'm just telling you that if you want the good Lord's forgiveness, you have to start the process. And making these people suffer through all this unknown questions, it's not starting the process. It's harming the process.
You can tell me that you're spiritual bullcrap till you're blue in the face.
I told you that.
You can tell me you pray till you're blue in the face. James has no heart. If James can sit here and do something like this to his own flesh and blood and then come in here and try to make us believe that, I guess this is almost like spontaneous combustion. It just happened on its own. Because we can put her in that house. We can put her in that house Thursday night where only you and Granny were at. So spontaneously this must have taken place. Because James can't explain it. Ain't that something?
James, do you know that the death of two people involved in the same incident, you know what that is? You have multiple deaths like that.
You know what that's called? You know what the charge is?
No, what's the charge?
Capital murder.
You know what punishment for capital murder can be?
What would that be?
The death penalty.
But can be reduced.
But all of which is negotiable. There's a big, big difference.
You about ready to go meet your maker?
You ready?
You ready to stand in that judgment? With all this undone? Like I told you before, you think you're a spiritual man? If you were a spiritual man, you'd be doing something about setting this right. That's all for naught.
The detectives had figured everything out. How, where, when. The only thing a confession could have cleared was why. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. With mounting evidence against him, James Larry Cosby Jr. was charged with tampering with evidence while investigators continued building their murder case. Over the months that followed, they gathered even more forensic evidence, including DNA recovered from Brittany's abandoned Kia Sorento. Then in August of 2016, more than 2 years after Brittany and Crystal lost their lives, James finally stood trial and was found guilty of capital murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. To this day, James has never publicly explained why he killed his own daughter and Crystal Jackson. But thanks to a handful of overlooked clues, determined investigators, and one little girl's courage to speak about what she remembered, he wasn't able to escape justice. We hope you enjoyed today's video. 85% of our viewers aren't subscribed, so if this is the kind of content you come back for, just hit subscribe. It's the single biggest thing you can do to support the channel. If you want to keep watching more, check out one of the most intense cases we've ever covered right here, or catch up on our latest upload right here.